Hey, milk!
Hello. What's semi-skilled and whole? So it depends.
Oh,
Choice.
like 75%.
I don't know. I'm confused with choice.
So first question is, what would you say is the single biggest threat to world peace at present, if indeed you can say world peace exists?
It's not just because it's topical, but we need to be reminded of the sheer destructive power of nuclear weapons. These rarely make it into the news these days. My generation grew up in the Cold War, where the threat of nuclear annihilation was around on a regular basis. The fact that nuclear weapons not only continue to exist in large numbers, but the number of states holding nuclear weapons is proliferating, is by definition the biggest threat to world peace. It's not just the impact of an attack, it's not just the impact of fallout, it's not just a nuclear winter arising as a result of a mass attack. It's when the risk of all that occurring through the number of proliferating states starts to go through the roof. Back in the 60s, many of us, including Australia, were threshold states. But we all decided when the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty came into being in 67 that there was a better way forward, which is to get rid of the buggers. And so we did. I think that's the smart way to go. So for the next generation of Brits, the next generation of leaders around the world, finally securing a nuclear-free planet would be the best thing we could do for global security.
Fantastic. Another question is, with recent events, both in the last months and in the last sort of 24, 48 hours, how would you assess the prospects for peace on the Korean Peninsula in the immediate future?
I've been following the Korean Peninsula and the nuclear problem there for the better part of the last 20 years. I've been to North Korea a couple of times. I escaped on both occasions. Anyone who pretends to be able to read the mind of the North Korean regime has got rocks in their head. This is a very hard to read political culture. To understand how hermetically sealed North Korean politics is from the rest of the world, you really need to visit. Therefore, for anyone to say that the North has decided, by definition, after one inter-Korean summit with President Moon, that it's all over Red Rover, I think is deluding themselves. We should remember this is the third or the fourth agreement between the two Koreas to eliminate nuclear weapons, going back to the early 1990s. So people should stop from getting too far ahead of themselves. I don't criticise President Trump at all for deciding to break the ice here and convene, at least announce the possibility of a summit. And nor do I criticise President Moon for having met with his North Korean counterpart. But the enormous national interests which the North Koreans have vested in the retention of their nuclear capabilities, I think means that the price for bringing about a result here is going to be very high.
Brilliant. And one final question, very quick, yes or no. Eurovision, remain or leave?
I'm a big Remainer. And even though you Europeans voted the Australian competitor in the Eurovision Song Contest last in terms of the number of votes from the mass audiences of Europe, I personally had my feelings hurt. And I'd like to ask you, did you vote for the Australian?
I did not, but I didn't vote. But I would like to apologise on behalf of the entire United Kingdom.
Could you extend that while you're still a member of Europe to all Europeans?
The entire of Europe.
Thank you.
Entirety of Europe.
It's accepted.
Thank you very much.